Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Charlton Live, sponsored by PSF Steel Limited. My name is Louis Mendes. Hope you guys are all well on this lovely sunny Sunday morning. On today's show, we'll be looking back at yesterday's 2-1 win at the Valley against Wigan Athletic. Yet another win in SC7, our seventh in a row. Slightly disappointing he didn't keep a clean sheet for those of us who, for the first time in ages, bet on us to win to a clean sheet. But there we go. So joining me to look back on that game yesterday, first up top right, Mr. Nathan Miller. How you doing, Nath?
Yeah, living the dream, mate. All good. Burnt myself this morning cooking, so it's a little bit of a lesson for me. I'm not as good as the chef down below, but yeah, no, good, mate. Good day yesterday. Saw some people that I ain't saw in a while, which was nice to see. And but yeah, all good day all round, really.
Yeah, nice. I like to think that your burning yourself was in tribute to our red hot form, rather than just a culinary accident. But you know, maybe I'm wrong on that. Also, bottom of the screen, a man I'm sure has covered himself head to toe in cooking oil at some point is Mark Newbury. How you doing, Mark?
Yeah, cooking oil, Vaseline. It's hard to do the difference sometimes. I'm good, mate. I'm ecstatic after yesterday to keep a run going, and it's all looking good.
It's all looking very good. Still 5 points off the top two after Wrexham's late win at Wycombe, but we're still well in that race. We are on such good form. So on today's show, then we'll hear the goal shortly from the game yesterday. We're going to hear from the Addicts boss, Nathan Jones, who was on sparkling form as he always is. And we hear from the man who got the goals as well, Matty Godden, the sniffer dog, came to speak to me after yesterday's game. I want to hear from everyone in the chat as well. Morning. To all of you joining us, all hell let loose is in there. Mickey, Andrew, Sam's in there. Keith, Joseph, Alan, Jeremy, Gary, Paul, Frankie. Let us know your thoughts on yesterday's win. Let us know your thoughts on the top two race, because like I say, we're in it. What do we need to do? Yeah, let us know your thoughts. Before we hit the goals, Nathan, studio at charltonlive.co.uk, tweet at Charlton Live or add a live comment. That's how you can give us your thoughts. I forgot to mention. Before we hit the goals, Nath, sum up your feelings on yesterday's game. I mean, obviously Tom's on holiday at the moment. He texts us saying, what was it like? And I said it was 80 minutes of Barcelona and then 10 minutes of something else, which was quite a really lame joke I made, Ars Aroma, which I was quite pleased with. What did you, it weren't that bad, but what did you make of it, Nath?
Again, I was sat there at 2-0 and it was 80 minutes to go. I thought, I'm literally going to be saying the same thing again. It's just a professional, efficient performance, very, very comfortable, really. Didn't really get threatened. And it's just weird feeling this comfortable late in the season when we've got something to play. So when we did, when the full-time whistle went, obviously I was delighted, but I couldn't help but be really disappointed by the way we let them score and invite pressure for the last 5-10 minutes. I just think we were so comfortable. We got a bit complacent. We had centre-halves playing at left wing and people trying to do step overs and that. I just think it's one of those games where we got a bit too big for our boots those last 10 minutes to come to bite us on the backside. So disappointed that we conceded, but obviously I'm delighted that we got the 3 points because that's all that matters where we are at this point of the season. But game, again, efficient, wasn't, a fantastic game to watch, end to end. But I think, again, we were just efficient in everything we did and some good performances across the side. And obviously, Matty Godden doing what he does best is an absolute goal machine, isn't he? So all good, mate.
Yeah, all good. Yeah, well, Isaac says he's going to be treating himself to a blue water trip and a Costa after that win, although the club in the form of Gavin has said, don't you dare, Isaac. So the club are still giving that advice to the supporters, what they can and can't do in that regard. Right, let's have a listen back to the goals from Charlton TV. Brownie, as always, was alongside Greg and Terry.
Way on the right-hand side he does as well, but it's been closed off. Lovely turn by Ramsey into the penalty area. Ball across. It might deflect Godden's way. And it is! And it's the opening goal for Charlton. The ball ran kindly for a deflection in the penalty area. Godden pounced, turned, and Cindy shot past Tickle, who had no chance. Charlton had the lead.
That's a hell of a finish. It's a hell of a finish. I mean, it's a snapshot, half volley on the turn. And he couldn't have put it in a better spot. Bottom right-hand corner from the keeper's perspective. He's got no chance. Excellent build-up play down the right-hand side. Love the fact that our right-sided centre-half is crossing that ball from deep on the byline and show great strength and patience. And then a touch of fortune on the rebound, but that is exquisite reactions from a centre-forward who just is brilliant at poaching goals, and it's a vital goal. I was just about to say in the next break how patient we were going to have to be today, because this Wigan side does not score many goals, and because it doesn't, it has to be defensively sound, and the first goal was going to be important. And before I got out, Matty Godden strikes. It's a brilliant opportunity strike from us.
Berry with the free kick towards the far post. Gillespie with the header, and there is Godden again. Charlton get that second. And it's Matty Godden at the far post. Gillespie's header initially, and Godden just makes a run from deep. Gets his second and doubles Charlton's lead.
Yep, it's just a long ball beyond everybody to the far post. Gillespie does brilliant, gets alongside his man, uses his upper body physically to bump him, and then it's just about where he can cushion the header, and he cushions it right across the goal into an aerial that just needs someone to make a run for the tap-in, and that man, with all his experience, reads it and half volleys the ball in from no more than a yard. No more than Charlton deserved. They've been exceptional in this first 45 minutes. It's been an extremely dominant performance against a side that doesn't give much away, and two's the least we deserve.
Up against Watson, gets his cross in as well. Gillespie gets a touch. Oh, what a save that is from Mannion on the first one, but following up is Say, and he gets a goal back for Wigan.
It's a shame, because that would have been 4 consecutive clean sheets, and we were heading towards 400 minutes without conceding a goal, and it's sort of come out of nowhere.
Well, the crossing wasn't really dealt with.
No.
Was it Gillespie who was trying to clear it, and couldn't see from this, just looking at the cross coming in, and it was Gillespie didn't really clear it. He tried to chest control it into his own path, I think, and the ball dropped. Again, I didn't see who the shot was from. Mannion made a superb save to his left-hand side, but following in was Zay, and he gets the goal back for Wigan.
Listen, on the counter-attack, we recovered very well in terms of the numbers behind the ball, quickly, straight lines, got numbers where they should be, and then have not dealt with the cross.
So there we go. That's the goals from Charlton TV yesterday, Mark. The performance was so dominant that it didn't deserve to have the nervy ending it did. So I mean, I guess you could look at it one of two ways. You know, really, we should have killed it off, or you could just say, look, I mean, we're not going to keep a clean sheet every week. That's just not going to happen. And it was a slightly sloppy goal to let in. But after that, I was a bit nervous. We dealt with a couple of corners, but we dealt with a couple of corners. We did what we had to do.
Yeah, I mean, we'd said on Thursday, you know, probably Patience and Brownie just said there. He was expecting it before we scored quite early. And I think if TC had scored his one in the second half early, then I don't think Wigan would have even bothered trying to attack after that. And it's funny because Corey had said on Thursday that they had looked defensively solid, but I didn't think that. I thought they looked nervous. I thought they looked disjointed, Wigan. And yeah, they've come up against us with our midfield, you know, Berry, Coventry and Dock, which I'd said on Thursday night I would have reverted to. Just really moving the ball and stretching them. And I don't think they knew which way we were going to be going. Obviously, because they had set up possibly to deal with Small on the right-hand side, and now they were facing, you know, Ramsey. And it was, when the ball came across, and you're right, it was dominant to a degree. And yes, we did make it nervy. But even after they scored, did I feel that was going to be a late one? Because I'm thinking, and I agree with Nath, maybe it could have been a sort of like wake-up call they needed, because Jones will probably, he said he's going to give them 2 days off, but he'll probably hammer them back on Tuesday morning for that last 15-20 minutes to make it that, you know, give ourselves a hard time. So it's look, at the end of the day, it's 3 points, and that's the bottom be all end all of everything. It's 3 points. Even if we'd played really badly and won, we wouldn't be even thinking about it. But because we've set the standards for ourselves so high recently, to concede a goal like that, and you know, it was a fantastic save from Mannion, because the guy really hit it with some power, and it's just happened to be that their guys reacted to it first. But did we make it hard for ourselves for the last 5-10 minutes? Yeah, but again, with the defenders who are on there and the way we work as a team to defend a situation like that, I didn't really feel as nervous as I think a lot of people. And as I said to you on Thursday, I'm now feeling a lot calmer than I have over the last sort of like 10, 15 years, which is strange.
Yeah, I mean, Shiny Phil says another 3 points in the bag, a little bit brown trouser time at the end, which it was. But I mean, I'll keep reiterating, like we had to defend 2 corners, and we did. Like that's going to happen if it gets back to 2-1. I thought Mannion was unlucky with the save he made from Darcy's shot, with C putting in the rebound, but. I don't know if we want to concentrate too much on the last 10 minutes, Nath, because the first 80 was just so dominant. It was ridiculous. Like it's what we've become used to at home, which isn't something we've been saying in previous years. But it was just one-way traffic in that first half. And as Mark said, there was a fear there might be a new manager bounce. They told us all week that Ryan Lowe wasn't going to be in the dugout, but he did. He was there. And probably after about half an hour, he's probably wishing he could go and sit back up in the stand after watching how dominant we were.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's what I don't really want to. I said I was disappointed coming out of the ground, which I was, but that didn't take. It just took a little bit of a gloss off the game, and I think that, to be fair, I think the goal. The team will be a little bit disappointed they let it slip, and I don't think that's a case of us being arrogant. I just think, as you say, the whole game we was dominant and felt fairly comfortable, which I'm beginning to see a lot more at home. They all seem to merge into one game, which I've said numerous times this year. We're just efficient and we don't really look threatened. And if you're going to keep clean sheets, then you're going to do very, very well in this game. And it was just took the gloss off a little bit. But yeah, I'm not taking that away from the team and the performance of the individuals and the set plays, which we can see that's coming to fruition now with the coaching staff as well. So we're getting a lot better at those in comparison to the earlier part of the season. So yeah, it was a very dominant performance and it's efficient. And we're not going to be, in my eyes, we're never going to dominate a game with possession all of the time and keep the ball a lot of the time and pass a lot of teams off the pitch. But we will run over a lot of teams in terms of aggression and pace and power. And I think that's such a big asset to have all over the pitch in this league. And I think the board and Nathan have built that, and tip my hat to them really, because there were some points this year we're going, when is it going to click? Because there were so many times where we're going, we just need to move into third gear a little bit. We seem to be stuttering, and obviously they're in fifth at the moment. So yeah, long may it continue. So I'm not going to let it get me too down in the dumps, because it's another 3 points and we've got some big games coming up.
As Brownie mentioned on commentary, and weirdly, it sounded like he had the same 4 at the same time that I did. Like we knew Wigan were coming into this game with a very good defensive record, and my fear was like, oh God, how long are they going to keep us out? Is it going to start to get nervous? And I was thinking that at the exact moment that Godden scored. So I mean, me and Brownie sit quite near to each other. We must have some sort of telepathic connection there, having the same thought at the same time. But the importance of that goal, it was massive, I think, just because of the game, the timing of it in the structure of the game. But that's why you have someone like Matty Godden in there. That's why you have someone who will sniff out, as he says, a sniffer dog, who will get that half chance and then will turn and put it in the bottom corner and relax everyone, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Godden, he's one of those strikers. He knows the goalposts don't move. He knows the goal is exactly where it's going to be. You see some strikers have a look, but then you see the ones who are natural, they say, they know it's not turned. So when he turned and hit it, he didn't have to see which way he was hitting it. I mean, he's turned, he's spun, he's reacted, it's in the back of a net, and he knows where it is. And the second one, I mean, you could play the interview later on with him, and he said that he didn't actually bother watching the ball going over because he knew where it was going to end up. And it's having that kind of instinctive striker which really benefits us, because other players can learn from him and we can then sort of like mix it up. But he's an absolutely, and his work rate as well, is really underrated, his work rate. And he moves all over the pitch, but he moves in the right places. So that's the thing. I think a younger kid might be sort of like chasing like a Jack Russell after a tennis ball, but he goes to the right places. And for 15 goals this season, I mean, when we signed him this season, we knew he had pedigree. And I think because it took him a while to get going, everyone was a bit like, oh, I don't know, as if legs gone, but it proves he hasn't. I mean, he's probably one of the fittest out on that pitch.
Yeah. Second goal, another goal from a set piece, Nath. At this rate, at the end of the season, the Sam Bartram statue, there's going to be one of James Brain next to him, just the amount of goals we're scoring from set pieces. But great delivery from Berry, who I thought had a very good game, actually. One of his better games for us. Gillespie, planted that header exactly where it needed to be. And when you see that ball floating over to the far post and you're thinking, I wonder if there's going to be someone standing on the goal line to prod it in. I think, we all would have put our mortgages on that being Matty Godden a yard out doing what he has to do again.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was saying. I think the improvement in our set plays, highlighted rightly for the Leyton Orient game, but there's been so many other sort of instances. You could even put, Macca's free kick against Barnsley in that as well, I know. But you've got to give credit where due, and I think they've done brilliantly. And it's an asset that we need to rely on a lot, considering our pace, and our strength and our height. We need to do it a lot more. And as you say, Mark touched on it there in terms of Matty Godden. At this level, he's such an intelligent football player. And to have that instinct, you can have someone who can whack it outside the box, top bins. Yeah, that's brilliant. But what you need is someone who's the sniffer dog, as they call him. That's what you need, and that's exactly what he's in the team for. And Andy's work rate, and he's got a leap on him as well, by the way. So, the set plays are absolutely brilliant. It's great to watch. It's so many goals are scored across the leagues on set plays, and we need to keep going on that. And obviously James Brain's done an amazing job. Get some more goals from centre halves. Just need Mitchell to get one now. Has Mitchell scored yet? I can't remember if he
scored away at Bristol Rovers.
Oh, of course he has.
3-1 or 3-2.
That game. Yeah, that game has been erased from my mind, I'll be honest with you. Listen, it's the coaching staff have done brilliant, and they're getting the plaudits, and rightly so. So long may it continue, because there's going to be games similar to like Stockport. There'll be games where it's tight, and it might rely on a set play, because with us, if we score first, we're more or less comfortable that we know we're going to get at least a point out of that game. So there are the fine margins in this game, and the set play is a great way to do it.
Yeah, Paul said when we brought in Matty Godden, I had him to score 20 goals this season. That wasn't looking possible a few months ago. Now I'm gutted. I didn't put money on it. He's up to 15 now in all competitions. John says Godden scores all types of goals. Yes, so much more to his game, and all round a top striker. Gillespie, if he isn't scoring, he's creating, says all hell let loose. Here, involved obviously in that second goal. Probably like he was involved in the goal we conceded as well. I watched it back. It's a cross that comes in, and it's sort of an awkward height for him, and he tries to chest it away. So it was quite a difficult one for him to deal with, but it ends up with Darcy's shot, and I guess we've been through that goal already. I mean, what we could say is start of that second half, Mark, it shows how much Tyrese Campbell has grown as a player, that he was able to completely outmuscle his defender to create the chance, and then perhaps shows the part of his game that will still need to come on a little bit in his decision making and the chance taking. He tried to take it around the goalkeeper, and Mr. Tickle stuck out his big long arm and made a stop, but it came out to Matty Godden as well, and he was a bit disappointed that he maybe could have taken a touch in hindsight and taken it around. But yeah, that was the chance to kill the game off. That was a chance probably to make it free to become 4 or 5 later in the second half, and then we just weren't able to take it right at the start of that second period.
Yeah, that's the difference for having a winger who's been almost like converted into a striker, as opposed to a striker who has the ball at his feet. Imagine, Clive Mendonca in that kind of one-on-one. You put your house on him, sitting the goalkeeper down, going round him and just slotting it in. And yeah, Tickles stuck out his arm and stopped it, and it's not really close enough to Godden for the replay. So that was one of the ones. I mean, Gillespie had his free kick in the first half as well. He's got a lovely curve, almost identical for the Barnsley one, but he's got down and saved that. Again, he's just a player who's playing with so much confidence now and so much freedom. There's a couple of times and you see him so far up the pitch and you're thinking, I know what Jones is talking about when he's saying, we've still got to remember the basics. When our centre halves are going up that far, you don't want it biting you. But no, Gillespie's of a header across, he's doing exactly what they practice. So, and like I said earlier, I think if that one had gone in to make it 3, then it would have been a clean sheet, because I just think Wigan would have just said, look, we're going to lose. Let's not get a hiding in front of our new manager. At 2, there's always a chance, as they showed, they could possibly get something. But, TC will learn. He's what, 20, 21?
Yeah, that will improve. And like I say, then, so just at the end of that game, when it was 2-1, those corners we had to deal with, Miles Leaburn had come on for Matty Godden, dealt with both of those. I mean, I noticed there's been a bit of a debate over the last few weeks online and stuff about Miles' ability in the air, and it didn't quite sit true with me, because like, defensively he wins a lot of headers. So I looked at the stats yesterday, and of all the strikers in League One, he's won the 3rd most headers across the whole division, and the 2 that sit above him have played a lot more minutes than he has. So I think the stats can put that to bed. Maybe TC's not been firing on all cylinders all season. 21 years old, not had a pre-season, has had injury problems, but he was playing a few months ago. So I just think the people were getting a little bit picky on certain things that didn't really need it, and the stats don't back it up. And then he made 2 very vital, important headers away at the end there, Nave.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, it's easy to say, because of his height, he should be doing this and that. But I mean, even when Miles first came onto the scene, I've never seen Miles as an old school target man. Do you know what I mean? He's better than that. He's better technically with his feet. And I think this year he's been asked to do a little bit of a different role, which he's still learning as well. So he's got a lot of attributes that are amazing that we've all seen. And there's other parts of his games which he needs to improve on, which, like TC, they're young, they're still retraining certain parts of their game. So you're going to have that. But yeah, for me, I've never thought, Miles doesn't really do enough in the air. And as you say, the stats back it up. And he does offer a threat. I don't know, what is he, 6'6", 6'5"? I don't know how tall he is, but he offers a threat in both boxes. And he dealt with the corners yesterday. If we take that away, I know Matty Godden's good in the air for his size, but Berry came off the pitch. We might not have dealt with those if Miles wasn't there. So he does offer a lot of stuff more than just heading. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't really have any problem with Miles at all. I think he's still young. We still have to be very mindful that we do have a lot of youngsters in there still learning their trade. I know they've played a lot of games. It doesn't mean they're a finished article, because if they were, they wouldn't be at Charlton Athletic in League One. So I just think he's still developing with a lot of other kids we got.
Yeah, Elliot says Miles has only played a season and a half in total in first team football. He's young. Nathan's right, playing a slightly different role. We should be supporting him. And I think, yeah, as Dudley says, I think he's 6'7". He might still be growing. I mean, he's massive, isn't he? Like, he'll be about 6'12" by the end of the season. As Paul said, did we get a little bit sloppy, overconfident in that second half? So when I saw Thierry Small doing that footwork where he sort of did about 50 step overs, then stood on the ball and then played a no-look pass. I watched it back and I didn't realise that he actually did a no-look pass after. I thought, I wonder what Nathan Jones thinks of that. And then obviously Lloyd Jones getting forward did we get a bit too big for our boots at some point yesterday, Mark? I think, especially when it was 2-0. If it was 5-0, then do the step over, stand on the ball and do that thing where you look around and stuff. But at 2-0, I don't think we should be doing that. We need to keep grounded. We need to stay humble in the words of a big Mancunian striker. Well, he's Norwegian, isn't he? But still. Yeah,
we do. However, I mean, in defence, like we said, he's a young lad. He's another one who technically would be referred to as one of the kids, even though they've played a lot of games. And we haven't got to the point where, our striker's gone round the goalkeeper, dropped to his knees and headed it across the line, like you've probably seen in a Parks game. But I think Nathan he's got a very long memory, as we know, and he's going to probably on Tuesday, or when they sit down and they go through it, that will be pointed out. We do not do that. We do things properly, and he will be told off like a naughty schoolboy. And will we see it do that again in another game? I highly doubt it. So, it's fun to see that they're enjoying their football. Did it give a heart attack for the last 10 minutes? It raised the temperature a touch. But at the end of the day, it's still still, young lads playing football, enjoying themselves, trying to entertain the crowd, which is never a bad thing. If we'd won 2-0, we'd probably been talking about his step overs and all his showboating and really enjoying it. So because we've conceded and it's made the last 10, hairy, it becomes an issue. I think it's a non-issue. Nathan will deal with it Tuesday and it'll be done.
Yeah, Spam says we shouldn't even do it if we're 5-0 up. No one wants Richarlison and Mopai energy, especially in League One when we're in the playoffs. We're not 10 points clear at the top. One of the players I wanted to speak about, who obviously came in yesterday, Intene Watson. At times last season, I think people had him on the list of players you wouldn't be that bothered to see go. But I think Nathan's kept people around the squad that he trusts in or believes that character-wise that he knows they'll keep themselves fit and do whatever they need to do. I mean, he was blowing towards the end, as James has pointed out somewhere in the chat. He had to come off near the end, but he ain't played for a long time. I think it was his first start since about October or something. I looked it up before the game yesterday. But I thought he acquitted himself pretty well yesterday for a player that's been out in the cold for so long.
I thought it was brilliant. I really do. I think, as you say, for someone who's not to sit there, he was injured for a bit, but then to sit there and when the team's winning, find him outside the squad completely. Like there was games where he weren't even on the bench, and to stay that professional in training, finally gets his chance and takes it. For me, yeah, he was blowing, as you can imagine. I mean, he definitely lasted a lot more than I could have lasted on there. I know that for a fact. But I thought he was really, really good. And you know what it was? Is the way that the squad's built now and the way that the club have streamlined the squad. When one person goes out, you don't really notice the difference. I know you have different attributes between Tene and, Thierry on the right-hand side. Of course you do. They're different, one's left-footed, one's right-footed. But like you say, for him coming out from the cold to come into a game like that where the pressure's on, we're in a good run of form. I thought he'd done really, really well and fitted in seamlessly. And I was really, really happy with him because I know he's a good player. I remember it was just part of that sort of defence where we weren't great a couple of seasons ago, but he does offer a lot. So yeah, I was really, really happy he fitted in, and it's nice for obviously Nathan to know that he's got that strength and depth now. So if he needs to rest some players, we've got that.
A defence that weren't great is possibly the understatement of the millennium there from Nathan Miller live on Charlton Live on your Sunday morning. Take a note of that one. We'll send it to the Guinness Book of World Records. Lloyd. Luke says he reckoned Lloyd actually set the tone for the sloppiness. He was just hovering about up front and making rash challenges. He was still class though, so not being overly critical. And that's the thing. Like we're at that stage now where we've won another game and we're getting and we're like picking very small bits out because we've been so good and so consistent for a long time. But yeah, that's just the levels we've set ourselves over the last few months. Aaron says that on Lieber, one thing we can all agree on, he's got absolutely outrageous feet for someone who's 6'7". It was very, very. He can be very, very good on the ball. So our game finished. Due to I hope the fan is okay, but there was a delay in the game at Wycombe and Wrexham. So when we came off, we didn't know what the final score was going to be. It was 0-0 at that point. Wrexham went on to win it 1-0. So we end up 5 points behind Wrexham. We end up 2 points behind Wycombe, who have a game in hand. At one point yesterday, I convinced myself each of the different three results was best for us. At one point, I was like, no, obviously a draw will be best because they both drop points. And I was like, well, actually, if Wycombe win, they've got a tough run in, so that wouldn't be the end of the world. Then I thought, actually, if Wrexham win, that's good because Wycombe still have a game in hand, so a chance to make up more points. And if they have 3 points and then another 3 on that, they would become quite difficult. It's basically what I think what I've talked myself into yesterday, Mark, is I agree with Nathan. I should stop looking at the other results because it's given me too much to think about. All we can worry about is ourselves. But it would have been nice to have been only 3 points outside the top two, but 5 points is still not insurmountable considering the form we're on.
Yeah, it's a call back to Thursday. I said exactly the same thing. You can't worry about what the other teams are going to do. There's going to be shocks. There's going to be dead certs. I think I'd probably agree with you that Wycombe losing with a game in hand was a better thing than Wycombe winning and having that extra game as well, because then that would make the second place, which we're potentially aiming for, just that little bit tougher, even though we've got to go to both those places. And from the look of the game yesterday, it was scrappy, between the pair of them, and it's just one of those things. You're just going to have to deal with it. I mean, I don't even know what their fixtures are next, so I know we've got Peterborough, and that's what I'm thinking about. It's not going to be, someone in the chat probably tell who they've got, but you can only control what you're doing, and that's what it comes down to. So if the end of the season we finish fourth, we finish fourth. We've controlled it. We finished fourth. The other teams have gone up because over a season they've been better. I mean, we can say, hey, over the last 10, 15 games, we've been, a champion leading team form, but it's over a season. We can point to those gaps where we weren't playing well. And it's, you finish the season where you deserve to be. So if we finish fourth, we finish fourth. If we finish second, we finish second, because that's where we'll deserve to be. I think if we finished outside the top six now, possibly you'd feel a bit aggrieved because of all the effort we've put in. But it is, you look at it over 42 games. You don't look at it over 44 games, 46 games. How many teams? Any advance on 46? Do I hear 47? No. You look at it over a season, and that's it. When we get relegated, we got relegated because we were bad over a season. You don't say, but because we were fantastic for 3 months, we deserve to go up. That doesn't work that way in football. It's a season. That's why they don't hand out trophies in September.
Yeah, James says, I think we need. Where's he going? I think we need Mark. The playoffs are a lottery, and I can't. I think we need second, Mark. The playoffs are a lottery, and I can't deal with another season in League One. Yeah, I would feel a lot more comfortable if we could finish second. We can't concentrate too much on other teams' fixtures, but just to fill you in, Wickham are going to Rotherham on Tuesday night. That's their game in hand. Next week, Wrexham are playing Stockport. There's some difficult fixtures. Everyone's got difficult fixtures between now and the end of the season. And then, just finally, this was quite funny from Elliot. The referee was an absolute showman. At one point, he turned to the curb stand and pointed to his knee after the suspected Wigan back pass. What was your? And I noticed that as well. I thought it's very rare that you see a referee indicate purely to supporters why he was making a decision. I thought, actually, probably not a bad idea to do that. Like, there was one point where there was some appeals for a penalty, and he sort of said no to the players, and then he seemed to go no to the fans as well. It's very unusual. But
he'd done the on that, Louis. There was another one where it was a blatant corner, and then he gave a goal kick. So we started booing. He just stood there and he just put his hands on his hips and was just like, it was just so weird. I was just like, it's like Mike Dean's love child. Yeah. Like, it's so strange.
Yeah, I guess he was trying to say, look, I didn't see it. What do you want me to do? Do you want me to just guess? Like, he gets a very expressive referee, which was entertaining, even if it was a bit odd. But there we go. Right, let's have a listen to what, talking of entertaining people, let's have a listen to what the Addicts boss Nathan Jones had to say after yesterday's 2-1 win against Wigan.
Nathan, 7 home wins in a row for the first time since 2019. What did you make of today?
I thought we were pretty dominant. I really did. I know it looks a 2-1 scoreline. I think they've had 2 opportunities in the game, so it shows we've been very, very good defensively. We made it a little bit more hairy and interesting than it needed to be, but I thought we were excellent. We were aggressive, we were front-footed, we moved the ball. Everything we work on, we did. We threatened the back line, and then got the goals. Could have been outside just after half time. It's a glorious chance. TC, then Godden, as you expect them to do. And then, as you said, I just thought we controlled the game really well. Would have liked us a little bit more quality in the final third, but we had umpteen chances, umpteen situations, and really sort of limited those to very, very little. And they've got some really talented individuals. I mean, these have got talented individuals, but apart from the last 6 minutes, I didn't see us losing the game. But as you said, as in football, if you don't kill things off and then you take the odd liberty, which I felt we did late on. But as I said, I'm just delighted with the win, because the wins is the most important thing.
I guess the overall performance didn't deserve that nervy ending, but even then you still dealt with those last 2 corners that came in.
Yeah, and look, as we used the squad, we had Miles Lieberman heading that away near post, and outstanding. Every little thing. We asked Tenai Watson today, has come in, hasn't played in ages, and he's had a magnificent game. The people I rested, Godden, Berry, Doherty come in, superb driving force. Godden with his quality. So it shows. Look, we're in a wonderful place squad wise, and I'm really, really delighted. And as I said, all that mattered today was the win.
Yeah, Wigan, I think, had the best defensive record coming into today, but I guess I don't have to play Matty Godden every week.
Well, look, it just shows the level we're at, And as I said, Wigan are a good side. Wigan have a very, very healthy budget for the level. You look at some of the players they've got, they've bought, they spent a lot of money in the window. this isn't a shoo-in, or this isn't a guarantee. You still have to do the job and still have to be as professional as you are. But I thought we were outstanding first half. I really did. And then it's just a real shame that we couldn't have taken the goal. And that was probably Matty's, I won't say his most difficult one because he had to tap in really. But it was a simple chance for both of them. We should then be out of sight, and then it would have been a different afternoon. But look, let's not look at the negatives now. Let's look at the positives. And it's as I said, 7th consecutive home win. We're in a real good place. It was important that we backed up last week where we play Orient, Barnsley, Stockport, 3 promotion chasers, to 2 we're not in the same position, and then we backed that up with 6 points in 2 games.
Of course, one major positive is the position in the table. We don't know what's going to happen with the Wrexham-Wycombe game at this moment in time because it's been delayed. But if that remains 0-0, just 3 points off the top 2, it's getting very exciting.
We're not concerned with anything else around us. We just have to be tunnel vision and do what we do. And if we do what we do, then okay, and people finish above us, then fine. But all we're concerned about is Charlton Athletic.
What can we say about Matty Godden that we haven't already said, because his goal return has been really good now?
Well, I've got to be honest here, I'd love to go back to July and look at some of the comments and some of the scepticism and some of the things that said he's not him, or he's not this, or he is a journeyman, or he is this and that. I knew we weren't. So, I could be really self-righteous now and go, I told you so, but it's not. Matty Godden's class. Matty Godden's had a wonderful career. Matty Godden's a goal scorer. We brought him here to score goals for Charlton Athletic, and Matty Godden has given us the return that we wanted.
Spoke a lot about using the squad this week, and Tanaya Watson, a player who hasn't had many minutes recently, I thought he came in and handled it really well. I
thought he was excellent, and that's what we say. Look, we have Mondays and Thursday sessions at the minute because the starters don't train Mondays and Thursdays usually, or don't train hard, and all those don't train hard on a Monday and Thursday. And if they take shortcuts, if they are, as we said, out and about and high-fiving and all that malarkey, then when they come in, they're not ready. And you're only as strong, the old cliche, you're only as strong as your weakest link. So people that are not regular starters at the minute don't prepare and don't train hard and are not conditioned to come in and play like we play, then they will let them down. Thankfully, we've got a stellar group that does that.
Yeah, you mentioned obviously your comments in the week about what the players have to do, and another thing today is the Player of the Year dinner is not going to happen at the end of the season. That all part of that focus they have to have between now and the end of the season.
Well, yes, it's not going to happen at the end of the season. What we've done is just make sure that we're focused. We're focused now on one goal, and then whatever happens, then we will celebrate hopefully a very successful season at the right time. So what I don't want to do is anything, focus. We've chatted to senior people at the club and they kind of agree in terms of that. So it's not us, it's just us having a real focus. And look, it's disappointing. Last year was one of the best turnouts I think that the club's had in a long, long time. And we really had a good night. And we celebrated achieving something last year that we've categorically gone past. But we still want to celebrate that. We still want to make sure that the fans are part of everything. It's just right now, no distractions, total focus on what we want to achieve.
Just on the 2 who missed out through illness and injury today, no Gilbert and no Edwards. Is Gilbert expected back next week? And with Edwards, do you have any sort of indication yet?
Yeah, look, Gilbert was overnight, so it's nothing serious. And then Edwards was just a minor thing. So, and as I said, to be fair to him, the shifts he puts in, the energy, the amount he's played, what he does during games, he needed a rest anyway, so this is an enforced rest, if you like. But it is a rest. It won't be anything significant. God willing, it won't be anything significant. So, as you said, we've managed to navigate that. But that's we keep preaching it's a squad game, and if they don't realise that or don't believe it, then they kind of see it now. Just
finally, just because I know a lot of the fans are asking about next week, I guess you won't know for certain until Monday. But are you expecting at this stage for next week to go ahead?
Yeah, we are, and it has to be now. Anyway, it has to go ahead, and we're hoping there's no late silly call-ups because the rules are very handicapping, if you like, in terms of a thing, because you can get called up, you can get put on standby list, which is unfair, and then get called up late, and then it jeopardises. So effectively, we can have 10 on standby, and then they can get called up Friday night, and we lose 10 players. I mean, nothing surprises me, the rules of football now. Nothing surprises me, because there's zero common sense right throughout anyone making decisions around football. So that's the threat we have.
So is the cut-off already gone? Because I remember the last one, we called it off on the Monday.
And the ironic thing is, the cut-off has gone if you're an away team. it hasn't gone if you're a home team.
Did you see the Blue Water footage they put out with the photo fits of your players?
Look, we've done nothing against Blue Water. I've shopped there many a times, and look, if they want to give me a bit of discount, I'll shop there again. But look, it's the closest one to us, so I used those. I could have used Stratford, I could have said anything, but hopefully we've given them a little bit of publicity, and we've in thing. And it was just a serious tongue in cheek. I don't know if there's an actual thing, but we wanted the players to keep focused, to keep doing the resting up, because we're asking big things from them. Now we've given them permission to enter the doors of Blue Water. They can high five in Costa. So again, if there's anything put by, we'll enjoy it.
PSF Steel Limited is a trade supplier of steel fabrication and erection services to the new build, construction and refurbishment market in southern England. With their unrivaled depth of experience, they excel at providing their customers with high quality and cost-effective steel fabrication solutions. Their customers include national and regional house builders, such as Barratt Homes, Bellway Homes, the Vistry Group and Taylor Wimpey. They pride themselves on their service-based ethos and commitment to customer service excellence, which includes full technical backup and on-site services and support. If you would like more information, go to www.psfsteel.co.uk. That's www.psfsteel.co.uk.
Hello fellow addicts, I'm so excited to tell you all about our micropub, the River Ale House. The River Ale House is based in East Greenwich. It has 6 Pub of the Year awards, an ever-changing selection of amazing beer. It's owned by Charlton fans, walkable to the ground in just 20 minutes with buses that go direct to the Valley too. If your matchday routine includes a drink with your friends, you must join your fellow addicts in the River. See you soon.
Right, welcome back to Charlton Live on your Sunday morning. Just for the breaks there, we heard from the Addicts boss, Nathan Jones, who has officially given his squad permission to re-enter the doors of Blue Water. They can now high-five in Costa Coffee if they want. Isaac has asked for clarification on if they can go to other shopping centres and coffee shops such as the Starbucks in Bexley. We will have to ask Nathan about that in midweek because I don't know for certain. Yeah, Zach. So there was a comment about Matty Godden that a couple of people have picked up on in the chat. Obviously, Nathan didn't want to say "I told you so," but also those words did come out of his mouth while saying he didn't want to say that. So I mean, a couple of people are saying like, James is saying, I think fans were more annoyed with May going than Godden coming in. It was the context of losing our top scorer. Also, the direct balls up to Godden for 2 months got up the fans' noses. Zachary's asking where he read these comments. Is he on Twitter? Apparently, he used to have a big Twitter account. Apparently, back in the day, I don't really remember these sort of things, but I don't know. Luke reckons that Nathan Jones is in watching us now and reading all these comments to see what the fans are saying. But what did you make of? I mean, Nathan cleared. I mean, if you heard his interview with Club yesterday, he sort of also referenced he uses like what happened after the Crawley home game as almost fuel for the fire for the rest of the season. He takes this stuff in and he uses it as motivation, I guess, Nathan, and he clearly enjoys the fact that he's been proven correct on Matty Godden.
Brilliant, carry on, mate. Like I'd love it. I'd love it to be proved right. I think on the Godden piece, I kind of get it. I mean, at the beginning of the season, we lost our top goal scorer. But when Matty Godden came in, I was, you look at he's played at a higher level. He's played higher level than Alfie May. He scored at every level he's been at. I think it was more about how we were going to get them together. So, and yeah, I think a lot of people would understand that Godden is a very good player. I don't think anyone was. Well, I didn't see anyone, saying he was a journeyman or whatnot. But it was just a case of it was still a bit raw that we lost Alfie May. But
it was definitely out there on forums and on Twitter and stuff. People saying he's a journeyman, yeah, because of his age.
Yeah,
I think was he 32, 33 maybe?
Yeah, but it's like, I think if it was like Danny Hilton's great round the dressing room. I mean, if we signed Danny Hilton to start every week, then I can kind of get it. But he scored at every single level he's been at. Like he dropped on his clip the other day. He's dropped levels when he went to Ebbsfleet with Stevie Brown, and he's just a top pro. So I can kind of get that. And if Nathan, uses things, and the Crawley game was bad. Like, let's not beat around the bush. It was bad, and we've come on leaps and bounds. And Nathan and the team have done unbelievable, and the squad and the board, everyone together as a collective have done unbelievable. So if Nathan uses things like that as motivation, brilliant. Like the motivation that, at Leighton Orient away when he was getting abuse, I don't agree with the abuse, but if he uses it as motivation and it brings the best out of Nathan, because he's just a determined character, and that's what we all love. I love it. Brilliant. And I hope there's many more things in that little head of his that he wants to prove people wrong. And I hope that's the case and he does it, because that means we finish in the season in a higher league. I nearly said second place then, but I'm not getting ahead of it myself. But yeah, brilliant, mate. I love it. And the best bit about yesterday was the apology to the catering staff of steak and nuggets to Goujon. So I'm glad that he might be going to Blue Water next week to the chicken Goujon shop if there's one that exists. So great day all round, mate.
They've got a wing stop in the food court, but luckily we've actually got our man on the ground in the chicken nugget versus Goujon debate joining us now. Chef Mark, what's the difference?
A shape. Basically, a Goujon is like a finger shape, and a nugget is literally, as you say, nuggets. There is a myth that a nugget can only be a minced piece. That is not true. If you take a chicken breast and cut it into like 8 pieces, they are then nuggets. If you then fry them in any way, bake them, they are still a nugget. They don't change the name. It's purely the shape. So basically, all it is that he's had chicken strips as opposed to a chicken piece. The difference between a Goujon and a nugget is purely on the shape.
Lovely stuff. Well, there we go. Nathan's apology to the catering staff in his club interview, perhaps unnecessary, because there's no material difference other than the shape between a nugget and a Goujon. They're both delicious as well. Next week, Peterborough. Just to so for some clarification on the rules there, because I found it quite confusing. But because you'll remember, I think it was Peterborough. We had a home game called off for internationals, which I think was Peterborough at the start of this sort of early on in the season, and we called it off on the Monday when Thierry Small got called up to the England youth team, whatever one he's in. So I was a bit confused, thinking we must therefore have to wait until Monday. But Nathan's made it clear now that actually there's a cut-off for an away team, which is either the Saturday or something, and the cut-off for the home team is the Monday. Having spoken to Peterborough's sort of press people, they don't think there's any chance they've got enough people on reserve lists for them to have people called up and therefore get it called off by Monday. So it looks like we're going ahead. I mean, the rule is odd. The risk we have, Mark, is the fact that the likelihood is that the players we have on reserve lists for their countries now will be Connor Coventry with Ireland and Thierry Small with England. So we could legitimately lose both of those two players at any point this week now and have no chance of calling the game off. Obviously, we've lost Kahim already, but unlikely he would have played. But, that's a weird risk that we find ourselves in, that we might have to go and play next Saturday away at Peterborough without Connor Coventry, which would be ironic that he's just survived his 2-game ban and then we'd lose him anyway, and Thierry Small. So it is a bit of an unusual rule that could actually come back to bite us. Yes,
it's funny because Coventry has done really well, because he's been on that knife edge for about 6 or 7 games where we just thought, don't get a card. And for the role he plays in the team, it's a kind of devil's advocate thing. Yes, the game could still go ahead, and then during training this week, one of them could turn an ankle or pick up an injury, or TC could tackle somebody, and then they're out of the game anyway. I think, as Nathan alluded to earlier, we've now got a squad where the players who come in are pretty much, you're not worried about that player coming in. So if, say, Small is called up and Coventry isn't, it's a case of fine. Maybe Edwards will be back, but we can deal with that. So it's one of those things. Anything can happen at any time. We know this. Up until literally even warming up before a game, players will pick up an injury. So to say it'll be nice to get to the end of tomorrow and say, yeah, we're going to have all our players. That'll be a slight relief. Would it be that I'm going to be sitting there refreshing my feed all day to find out? Probably not. If it'll be in the group, I'll read it, but I'm not going to be worried about it, because I think we've got options now. So Gilbert, if he's fit, can come in for Coventry. Karoy can always come in and go in there and free up Doc a bit. So we've got options.
Lovely stuff. Right, a couple of comments in the chat. Luke says Liverpool have the Gegenpress, we have the Goujon press, which is quite good. And Dudley said someone should have got a photo yesterday of Mr. Tickles shaking Big Willie's hand. Yeah, and obviously that was Big Willie who came out on top in the battle of the goalkeepers yesterday. Couple of quick emails. Mark saying I've supported Charlton since the early 90s, had a season ticket since 1993, but since Roland Rat took over, I cancelled it. Only made sporadic appearances home and away. The club had lost its soul. However, I feel something has changed, and Nathan has brought back a togetherness to the club. I've purchased a final 5 season ticket up in the J Block. Yesterday was the first time in a long time that I felt the buzz to be back in the covered end choir. Something tells me we're into something good. What a mood lifter. Absolutely buzzing. That's from Mark, and that's great to hear that you come back, Mark. Hopefully plenty more will do so as well. If you've got an opportunity to try and pick up one of those last 5 tickets, if you can. I feel like it'll be worthwhile at the moment. I feel like you're missing out if you can't get down. If you can, it'd be great to see you all down there. Pete's asking a question about what happens if we get into the final table and teams are left on like the same points and games and that. So I had a quick think about this. So obviously, I think I'd have to check the rules. I think it goes down into like head to head against each other, and then I saw something that suggested it might even go down into disciplinary. Like, so if you're tied on absolutely everything, you might go up or go down on yellow cards or something crazy. But I mean, I'm imagining it's so unlikely it'll come to that for something important. But if it does, I mean, we'll have a proper look before the time that it becomes important. Right, let's have a listen to what the Sniffer dog had to say after his brace yesterday. This is Matty Godden speaking to myself after the 2-1 win over Wigan Athletic.
2-1 win here in the end. How did you see today's game?
Yeah, up until the final probably 5 minutes, I thought we was really, really dominant and probably showed what we've been doing the last 7 games here. And we felt confident coming into the game, but it was important that we started the game well, and I felt like we did that. They couldn't get out, and even the start of the second half, when I should probably grab my hat trick, but I thought we didn't let them out again and pressed them really well, and I think we deserved the 3 points in the end.
Yeah, it's one of the more dominant displays again we've seen here at the Valley, and for a side that doesn't concede many goals, I guess an early goal was always going to be handy, so you must have been pleased to have got that.
Yeah, no, it was important that we got the early goal to probably justify our dominance at the time, and we got that, and then we kicked on, we could have scored a few more in the end.
Yeah, lovely set piece as well for the second. Is that something you've been working on, that move?
Yeah, no, the gaffer's really keen on our set pieces because we've got a lot of size in there, and brainy, and we work really hard on a Friday on them, and I'm not really trying to get involved in the first bit. I'm just trying to sniff out goals from the second phase, and as soon as I saw Macca above his man, I knew exactly where the ball was going, and had the simple 2-yard tapping.
How important have you found the work that James has done over the last few? And we saw what happened at Orient, of course, with set pieces.
Yeah, no, set pieces are a massive part of the game, and they are at any level. And if you can be a threat from set pieces, then you're going to be all right.
So you're disappointed to come off without the match ball in the end, then?
Yeah, I should have scored a hat trick. Obviously, I saw TC going through, and the keeper parried it. But it's a great save, to be fair to him. But if I probably had my moment again, I'll probably take a touch and go round him. But yeah, I'm pleased with the brace in the end. I was
going to say, is that the example of the sort of standards you're setting yourself? That there's a slight bit of disappointment, but overall you still got 2.
Yeah, I'm happy that I've scored a brace, but I would have loved to take home the match ball.
I think that's 15 now for the season in all competitions. Are you sort of getting towards any pre-season targets you set yourself?
No, like I said in interviews in the past, I don't set targets. I just want to go out there and score every game if I can and put myself in positions. And I think targets add pressure, and I don't want to start snatching at things. I know I've said that I never lose confidence in my ability in front of goal, but I think targets can bring on pressure, and I'm not that sort of player.
Yeah, obviously then, Charlton are well in the race for the top 2 now. If anyone's not sure about that, up until a few minutes ago, you're only 3 points off. I think Wrexham have just scored. But you're looking up at that top 2 and thinking with the momentum you're on, you've got a real good chance. Yeah,
we're just going about our work every day. The gaffer's on us and demanding more, and us as players, you want to be at that sort of that's the end of the table where you want to be, and we could have different kind of pressures that the bottom teams are having, but It's why you're in football, to be involved in this sort of pressure, and it's an enjoyable time to be at the club.
Yeah, 7 wins in a row here at home. When you talk about pressure, I mean, we talk about this a lot. When you go back a few months, the crowd at home was probably quite difficult to play in front, but it's very different now. Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's what they deserve, and I think I noticed that the attendance was up when we come out of the tunnel, and we us as players were just trying to put on a show for them and give them what they deserve, really. And I think they'd go away, other than the last 5 minutes when there was a little bit of a heart attack, but. No, we're certainly enjoying playing our football here. No midweek game. How will you be spending your free time? Probably at Blue Water and then in Costa. No, I'm just going to spend it with the family and relax, and because we know we've got an important run in now, and that starts again next week. We'll see. Everyone outside the club's had a lot of fun with the Blue Water and Costa stuff, but I mean, as players, how have you found that? Obviously, it's more about the tunnel vision he's expecting from you, I guess. Yeah, no, it's us as players. The gaffer's just made the comments, but us as players know that we've got to sacrifice everything in our lives now for what is there, 6-7 weeks of the season left. So we sacrifice everything in your lives to hopefully achieve something really special.
There you go. That's Matty Godden having a quick chat with me after yesterday's game. This is a great point by Isaac in the chat, and I'd forgotten about this. But he says, do you remember at the start of the season, or early on in the season, he was talking about sides being in sides in the relegation zone that ended up in the playoffs. There was a time when we were quite low down still in the table, and I asked him about, is there still this belief? And he mentioned that, yeah, I've done it with another side where we were literally in the relegation zone and got into the playoffs. So he's done it again. I mean, we can't overestimate the turnaround there's been in this side, but the belief within the group never seems to have faded, even if a lot of us had lost all hope.
Yeah, I think Oxford did it a couple of years ago as well, didn't they? Something similar where I think they might have just missed out the playoffs, so it might even be better than that. But yeah, I think we all knew that the squad was there. Like the club have done great to build that squad to where it is. It just needed to get into that second, third, fourth gear from games. And to have that belief, and we all know confidence and momentum is massive in football, whether it's in game, or form, or it can end at any minute. But then if you keep it going, it's so powerful. And if the players are believing that, and that a lot of that is belief. I think a lot of the players since the turn of the year, a lot of players have started believing a lot more. Just in terms of their performance, just like, even the captain Doherty, like earlier in the season, wasn't poor, but he's just come on leaps and bounds and everyone seems to be pulling in the same direction, which is obviously having a massive impact at, everyone at the club and the fans and whatnot. So yeah, it's unbelievable really that they can keep on believing. And as you say, it's just a little bit of a sacrifice, another couple of months, and then just have one big push. Because none of us can ever doubt the work rate of anyone at that football club, but it's just those fine margins. We just need to keep going, and then let's enjoy the journey. But one game at a time. Let's focus on Peterborough and nothing else.
Yeah, James. Obviously, Matty was speaking about. We had a bit of fun with the Blue Water stuff. I think at some point we'll draw a line under that, but it is still quite fun. So maybe not just yet. But James, Matty said about the sacrifice. James said it's hardly a sacrifice being a footballer. If only we had a professional sportsman in the chat who might be able to say what it's like. Oh, no, we do. Ed Slater says, are you talking from experience, James? Obviously, Ed, professional rugby player. I think he knows what sacrifice it can be. I mean, it's a very different life to the ones we live, obviously, James. But you put your body on the line. You have to concentrate incredibly hard on fitness. It's a different life, and you get a lot of money, but there are sacrifices. Everyone has different levels of sacrifices throughout their life that they had to make for their day-to-day living, and that's what we're doing. Right, finally, Ethan said, I don't believe this is true, but he says a lot of fans in the covered end were singing Louis, show us the graph. Louis, show us the graph. I didn't hear that. If that was true, I don't think it is. But one thing I will have to admit now is that when you get into the closing stages of the season, the graph is not particularly relevant, because the graph is useful over the course of a season when you don't really know roughly where you're going, so you just got an average. But now we're going to get into the final 10 games, the final 9 games. It actually isn't that important, but we'll have a look at it anyway because it still looks great. As you can see, we're currently on course for 82 points, which is well above the 74.5 for playoffs, a little bit below the 90 for top 2. But this is what I'm saying. the closer you get towards the end of the season, the more you're going to know about whether that 74.5 and that 90 is the right number. Currently, the 90 is looking slightly high, but these things can these things can even out over the course of the season. Who knows? But currently, the 90 is looking slightly high. At some point, we'll drop the graph and we'll worry only about the actual results on the league table, because it will look very silly if we get to the end of the season, we finish second on 88 points, and then I go, well, actually, the graph says we finished third, so it doesn't count, because obviously that's not how these things work. But that's the graph. It's still looking very, very healthy. The most important part of it is this red line here from about game 19 that is going up in quite a direction that, if it continues, will get us above any line that you want to draw on it. So we're in a good position. And as Isaac says, we're safe from relegation. We have been for a while now, which is excellent. Right, we've run out of time on this week's Charlton Live. Flown by, as always, another win in SC7 for the Addicts. Massive thanks to everyone who's joined us live in the chat. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and to our podcast feeds wherever you see it. Make sure you check out our merch store as well, charltonlive.etsy.com, for your Charlton mugs. Loads of sales of those quite recently, because everyone's feeling happy about the club again, which is always nice to see. Nathan and Mark, been an absolute pleasure as per always. Good to speak to you.
You're welcome.
Cheers, boys. Up the Reds.
Lovely stuff. So I'm Louis Mendes. This has been Charlton Live, sponsored by PSF Steel Limited. We'll be back on Thursday to look ahead to the game with Peterborough. We shall see you then.